Hey everybody, welcome back to Life in Law. For today's video, I want to cover the 5 things I wish I knew before starting law school. Now this will be a multi-part series, so if you have a question that isn't answered, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to cover it in a subsequent video. Now jumping right into it at number 1, there is only one exam for each class. Coming into law school, I thought it would be somewhat like an undergrad program where you've got a midterm, a final, some papers, or smaller tests sprinkled throughout to offset the weight of any one larger exam. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and it really added stress to an already stressful time at the end of the semester since your entire grade depends on one exam. And not only that, you're not really even sure if you're fully grasping the material because you have yet to be tested on it. So it's certainly something that you want to be aware of and prepare for well ahead of time. At number 2, there is no such thing as the perfect cold call. For those that don't know, most law schools use what's called the Socratic method when conducting class. Now this just basically means that professors will call on a random student to address one aspect of the previous day's reading, and it's commonly referred to as a cold call. One will spend an excessive amount of time stressing out about this part of law school. Now this can be a good thing because it means most students come to class fully prepared and are completely engaged in classroom discussions so they don't miss out on some essential question right before they're called on. However, it can add a massive amount of stress to each class, so it's helpful to know that there really is no way to achieve the flawless cold call. Even if you answer all the initial questions correctly, a good professor will keep pushing and pushing until you end up questioning whether you even read the same material as everyone else because clearly you don't know anything. Now this isn't designed to make you feel bad about yourself, it's just designed to engage you in questioning what you think you know, which is really, thinking like a lawyer. The only bad cold call is when you don't say anything at all. There is nothing more oppressive than the hush of a completely silent cold call. So relax, rely on your notes, and say something. Good professors will help even a struggling student who's trying to engage find the right answers. This leads me to number 3, which is no matter how much you prepare for classes, at some point you will feel totally unprepared. Whether it's a question you haven't the faintest idea how to answer, or a classmate's response during a cold call that you never even considered, the feeling of barely treading water comes for us all. To combat this feeling, which can lead to you wondering how you tricked the admissions committee into even letting you into law school, make sure you're not suffering silently. Talk to someone going through the same thing as you, whether it's your classmates, someone else you know in law school, online chat forum, or heck, listen to this part of the video over and over and over again until it finally sinks in that everyone feels like they are lost in the wilderness at first. This is something that will slowly go away with time as you acclimate to the stresses and the requirements of law school. Now number 4 is something that you'll probably hear a lot once you're already in law school, but not so much beforehand, and is that there's no generic formula for success. What I mean by this is that some people will find that taking notes and highlighting in their book is the best way to prepare for class, while others will need a pristine book and take separate handwritten notes, and some other people might even type up their notes and print it out before each class. Finding what works for you is something that's hugely important, but typically won't happen instantly. It usually requires some trial and error. Make sure that when you're trying something new and you find that it might not work for you, don't just keep grinding it out stubbornly. Just let it go and move on to something else. Eventually, you'll find what works for you and you'll be better off for it. Now, number 5 is perhaps the most important thing on this list. Get into small groups early and meet as often as possible. Class time is meant to reinforce the reading, clarify any confusing aspects, or for the professor to highlight what they deem to be important and might be on the final exam. This means that the majority of what you learn will actually happen outside of the classroom. At first, I tried to make sense of everything by myself, but after meeting a couple of friends, we decided to make a small group, and we were astounded at how much it helped. We were able to bounce ideas off of each other, share notes, work through tough portions of the reading, come up with these random hypotheticals, and then work through them. And if one person was ever confused on a particular aspect, the others could explain it to them in ways that would make sense. And this, in turn, deepened their own understanding of the text. All of this served to enrich my learning in ways that I can't even express, so I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to get into small groups early. Alright, that wraps up today's video. I hope you were all just as enthralled as Brody was this whole time. And if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, leave a comment down below, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more of my new content.